This is Glasgow, known for its busy shopping streets, its constant rumble of traffic and trains, as well as its often colourful language. But amongst the walls of Scotland's largest city lie some of Glasgow's more attractive features, if you know where to look. Tucked away in alleyways and under bridges are some unique and unusual sites made entirely from graffiti. Graffiti street art has found a more prominent home in Glasgow in recent years, thanks to the Street Mural Trail. This street trail has created a colourful new way to explore Glasgow, as it spans all across the city, helping locals and tourists alike discover a hidden side to this urban maze. It has also allowed people to experience a new kind of street art, rather than just the stereotypical vandalism of graffiti. There is a significant difference between graffiti and street art. Street art occurs when the artist gains permission from the property owner, otherwise this is graffiti and therefore vandalism. Glasgow's mural trail currently consists of 25 individual pieces of street art, ranging from Commonwealth Games swimmers to giant cats. Most of these art pieces were created by just a few artists, two of whom go by the names of Rogue One and Smug. These artists are responsible for pieces such as the world's most economical taxi and fellow Glasgow residents respectively, both of which have become a recognisable constant in Glasgow's ever-changing landscape. As Glasgow moves with modern times, bringing more high-rise buildings and bridges, street art provides a welcome splash of colour to some otherwise dull locations. Glasgow City Council currently have a zero-tolerance approach to unsolicited graffiti, as they prefer to tackle some of Glasgow's hotspots with much larger, more professional pieces of art. With the mural trail expecting to grow over the coming years, and with endless possibilities regarding the art depicted, this raises the question of, does street art create Glasgow's culture or simply reflect it? It's fairly obvious that the street art on our streets reflects the diverse culture of Glasgow. One piece suggests just some of the strange and unexpected things which could be found in the River Clyde, including elephants and even a Dalek. There are also two pieces dedicated to the Commonwealth Games which were held in Glasgow in 2014. One in Merchant City, depicting badminton player Kieran Merrilees, and another by the Clyde, depicting some Commonwealth Games swimmers. Strathclyde University is home to multiple pieces of street art, all of which reflect Glasgow and in particular the university's culture. Here you'll see the TARDIS, dedicated to Doctor Who producer Verity Lambert, who received an honorary Doctor of Laws degree from Strathclyde Uni, as well as a telescope once used to teach nautical astronomy at the university. There is also a range of famous faces, including the inventor of the television, a wind energy pioneer, and the founder of Strathclyde University. The Clutha Bar has also become a hotspot for culture-reflecting street art in recent years. After the tragic helicopter crash in 2013, restoration work has included two art murals. One is dedicated to one of Glasgow's greatest architects and artists, Sir Charles Rennie Mackintosh. He is joined by some of those who played a part in the history of the Clutha Bar, including Stan Laurel, whose father managed the theatre across the road, Benny Lynch, a boxing champion who once stayed above the Clutha Bar, and Mary Barber, the Scottish socialist who started the rent strikes in Govan after the Second World War. However, it's not just at the Clutha or Strathclyde Uni where you can see some of Scotland's famous faces. Scattered across Glasgow are three portraits of the famous Glaswegian comedian Sir Billy Connolly. These were commissioned by BBC Scotland for the Big Ian's 75th birthday and were featured in the BBC Scotland programme Billy Connolly – Portrait of a Lifetime. Billy Connolly started his career as a welder in the early 60s, but soon turned to comedy. His success in the comedic world has earned him the top spot on Channel 4's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups, as well as a knighthood from the Queen. It's safe to say that these 50-foot portraits are a fitting tribute to one of Glasgow's best-loved icons. Between Daleks and the River Clyde, Charles Rennie Mackintosh, the 2014 Commonwealth Games, Scotland's greatest minds, the history of the Clutha Bar and Sir Billy Connolly, street art has done a pretty good job of reflecting Glasgow's diverse and interesting culture. But has it gone so far as to create its own? The mural trail is arguably a created culture in itself. Since its first piece commissioned in 2008, Glasgow's graffiti art mural trail has been gaining more and more popularity with each piece added. There are even guided tours which visit each of the 25 stops on the trail's map. However, Graffiti to Glasgow isn't just a fun day out exploring the city. As previously mentioned, it is also a reassuring constant in a city full of change. Street art has become part of daily routines on commutes to work. It has repurposed buildings which were previously branded an eyesore. It can even lift spirits on yet another day of rain. As a result, a culture has been created uniting both Glaswegians and tourists alike through their love and appreciation for street art. This now created culture wouldn't be possible without the people behind Glasgow's Mural Trail. Thanks to the new created culture, people quite literally make Glasgow.
My name is John Foster. I'm a project officer with Glasgow City Council. I work in the City Centre Regeneration team, which is based at 231 George Street, as part of the Development and Regeneration Services team. What we are tasked with doing in the City Centre team is essentially just try and make the City Centre better, just to improve it. And the murals has just been identified as something which we can do, which just increases the overall offer of the City Centre. The reaction has been overwhelmingly positive. If I was identifying any favourites, I'd have to identify one of each of the artists who for us have contributed more to the project. In terms of our smug, I'd probably go with St Enoch, just because again it's fantastic, you know, the attention to detail, the way he has of sort of capturing the light and what have you, and just the subject matter I think is really impressive. In terms of Rogue, my favourite of his is probably actually the Cowcaddens Underpass, the hand shadow puppets. In terms of Clingerton, his new stuff's really good down in Midland Street as well, but the one that originally sort of took my breath away was the Tiger, which unfortunately recently was kind of defaced. Yeah, just seeing the way that he works with the stencils and seeing the image sort of come through in sort of layers and stages kind of thing was really impressive as well. So there are a number of murals that we would like to restore. It's not always possible. Artists are all about, you know, what's new, and you know, they're always learning, they're always bringing new techniques. So from their point of view, they would always want to refresh a site rather than restore a site. If you had an area that was being targeted by, you know, graffiti or various other forms of sort of vandalism or what have you, or even just the elements of sort of urban blight and you know sort of urban decay kind of thing, that you could deter a lot of these problems or displace a lot of these problems if you actually put in like a really good mural. We've just found a way to facilitate artists to bring their work to the city centre on, you know, in some instances quite a huge scale. But it's not as if it's the council that's actually installing these works ourselves. We're not doing it. We're no artists. We're not necessarily creative or cultural in that sense. We're just facilitating this endeavour so that the city benefits. We try and give artists as much freedom and scope as possible in order to encourage them to come and participate. Without the artists, there would be no project. Without the landlords, the landowners who provide their permissions, there would be no project. The success for this project has to go to all the other people that support it, who participate in it, who contribute, and who make it the success that it is.
Next time you're in Glasgow, be sure to look out for the splashes of colour between the walls. After all, Glasgow wouldn't be Glasgow without the cultures that street art both reflects and creates.